and let us all do we can to build a better future. Record, even though there are people saying don't run, Joe.
Oh yeah,
I know it's gonna get bad out there, folks, and
I'm just
really gonna get bad. It's not gonna be pretty. It's gonna make you sad. So here's corporate media, CNN, where they aired a snippet of "Don't Run, Joe," right? And this is again the group that did this. Look, let's face it, Joe Biden has been supported by the corporate media. Outlets like TYT and Majority Report and everyone else that had Trump derangement syndrome. But it's quite clear nothing has fundamentally changed. This whole idea that Joe Biden was going to return the soul back to America was never going to happen.
well, you would need a soul for that in the first place, I think.
Ooh, burn. But yet here we have the Jagoffs at CNN, mind you, the only news media outlet to have a streaming service go bankrupt. What, they spent like what, $250 million plus for CNN Plus to go under. It lasted longer than it lasted only for a month. Only for a month. These big brain geniuses at CNN thought that they were popular enough to do a streaming service. Like people would actually sit down and pay money to watch this crap. Already, there's been reports of streaming services going under, but that's a talk for another day. But here, let's hear what the big brain geniuses at CNN have to say. Before I play the video, Lauren, I want to get your commentary.
Oh no, I'm just they're so sycophantic. I don't understand how they can just come out here and like they can't honestly believe the stuff they spout, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of this, they can't actually. They can't. They have to know that they're talking nonsense, right? Or like, do you think they really, really, truly are that much of a butt licker? Like,
they're probably not only are they butt lickers, their heads are already up, and they're probably half their torsos are already up the rear end, the wazoo of the Democratic establishment. So try and put that image, all the people of CNN up the donkey rear end of the Democratic Party. That's what CNN's doing.
Group Roots Action is now running an ad in New Hampshire urging Biden to step aside. I'll play it.
If he runs, the election is at serious risk.
Joe Biden representing the status quo in 2024 simply won't cut it.
We can't afford to risk the White House for a Republican who could defeat status quo Joe.
We can't afford to lose. Don't run, Joe.
Don't run, Joe.
Don't run, Joe.
Don't run, Joe. Don't run,
Okay,
Joe.
Van.
Don't
So
run.
how is he going through all this? How is the president thinking through this?
Yeah. Well, look, I think with those numbers, I'll get to the ad in a second. But I think those numbers really reflect this tug of war in the heart of the Democratic Party. We are proud of Joe Biden. He has done beautifully.
Okay, so let's see. The Supreme Court memo leaks. The Democrats have like a month and a half to do something to codify Roe v. Wade. They do nothing. They lied about doing something about student debt forgiveness throughout the entire midterms. And Gen Z did show up and, oh, nothing happened. What about infrastructure? Nope. Student debt forgiveness? Nope.
Medicare for all?
Nope. But money for war? You better believe it.
Yeah,
oh, and by the way,
beautifully.
By the way, the kids are still in cages, folks. So anyway, any of these latte drinking liberals, these jagoff liberals, going to get in their little fancy.
Let's not knock lattes. All right.
All right. But nonetheless,
that's not fair to people who drink lattes.
Yes. Okay. Well, anyways, these smug liberals, especially those in CNN, you know, I don't see them getting their little Honda SUVs and driving down south of the border to get those kids out of cages. No. So
or even talking about it anymore.
No. Hey, they don't want to play with it anymore. They don't want to talk about it. It's like throwing away something they like to talk about, and boom, they just threw it away.
He's done well. People were scared. There was a summer of shame with the Afghanistan stuff. People were terrified. All of a sudden, he's delivering on gun reform. He's delivering on infrastructure. He's delivering on climate. He's delivering. And so you love.
Hey, folks, let's have democracy in the chat. Do you remember Biden delivering on any of his promises? Type 3 if you're like, oh, boy, howdy. He sure did deliver, including that $2,000 stimulus check that was promised to us. Type 4 if you're like, hell no. And yeah, we're still waiting for our $2,000 stimulus check. And before any of these vote blue, no matter who people say, the $600 plus the $1,400, $2,000. That's not how it works. And I'm going to live up to the goddamn Fox News propaganda about Chicago, okay? Money was promised to us. And I'm going to speak as a Chicagoan. I'll take your $1,400. That's great. But now I want interest because you promised me $2,000. So where's that $2,000 plus the interest? Give me the money. Give me the money. That's a Fox News. Hey, I'll live up to that stereotype. Yeah, Chicago's going to be violent. Where the hell's the goddamn money, Joe? There we go. Take that to the bank.
Of him. At the same time, you worry about his age, and so you have people. Does he deserve to be
Brett Wells says still waiting for him to cure cancer.
reelected? He certainly does, but should he? And so that's, I think, the conflict in the party.
Why is this guy trying to say that the only reason people are like don't want Joe to run again is because of his freaking age? Like, they didn't want him to run for the first time because of that, but like, why is he trying to be like, oh no, it's not because his policies have been bad or he's disappointed people, he's done amazing, he's just old, so like that's the only reason that people don't want him to run. That's so disingenuous.
No, look, he has been on the wrong side of history and nothing fundamentally changed. As soon as Trump left the White House, what happened? Oh, that's right. The neoliberal mask of the system was put back on properly. And look, Trump was transparent. I know, before anyone gets triggered, Democratic voters, Trump was pretty transparent. He told people, hey, the election's, it's a rigged system. How do I know? Because I've used it. I give these people money. They do what I say. Why are we here in Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq? We're here for the resources. He said the truth. He said the truth, and a lot of people didn't like hearing that. He said the truth. Everything else, yeah, Trump's a liar, a scumbag, all that other stuff. But hey, at least he was honest about that. But here you have this guy, this wonderful jagoff, saying, oh, yeah, no, people don't want Joe because they don't want to run because he's old. No, Joe's been on the wrong side. The last thing on my list is, yeah, Joe is old. He's going to be in his 80s. What more can you do? It's time to retire now. Like all these other politicians. Nancy's no longer Speaker of the House, but she's still in the House of Representatives. She's going to be 90. Dianne Feinstein is going to be 90. Honestly, the people in Washington, D.C., they have not matured past high school. They got this high school mentality. Tulsi Gabbard was right calling them out. That's what they are.
But right now, that's just one group throwing a rock. It's not an avalanche yet.
Well, and I will say, Van, if anyone could square a circle, it would be you. Quick final word, David.
All right, we're done listening.
I do. You know what? That was kind of funny. And like the guy on the other side was like, he was very serious about his, no, don't run. He's like, what are you talking about? You need to stop. I like her though, being like, yeah, if anyone's trying to put a square peg in a round hole, it's you. She's like, you're so off base. It's like, I do appreciate, like, yeah, he's so off base. It's like, who are you? Like, oh my gosh. So I will say I do appreciate that both of the other commentators were like, you're wrong about that.
Yeah, it's almost like, hey,
I'll give them credit where they're due.
Hey, dude, it's not that you got a little something on your nose. You got a whole log on your face right there, man.
Oh my.
Will somebody else challenge him? I'm not naive. I do believe he'll get a challenge. Many people will support the president of the United States. He'll probably get a challenge from the left, someone who thinks that maybe he's not progressive enough or whatever they may say from the Bernie Sanders wing of the party. I don't think that challenge is going to go anywhere, but the president has to be prepared to run a full campaign. At 80 some odd years old, he has to be prepared to maybe have a primary, but definitely not have a COVID abbreviated general election. And that's daunting for someone of any age.
All right. So, Lauren, let me ask you this. What do you think the possibilities are of Biden potentially running, but everyone's going to circle around him and they're going to avoid a primary at all costs? You think they're just going to have him in there like that, or you think there's going to be a primary?
Oh, I think they're going to try to avoid a primary. They don't want even the option of anybody else coming in. Like, not that I can think of anybody right now who would run on the Democratic side. I can't think of anyone who would be willing to do that or who would be willing to like shake things up in that way. So no, I don't think that they're going to try and primary. I think he's just going to run him.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and people in the live stream chat are bringing us up here too about Biden. If you watch how he speaks throughout the early stages of the 2020 primary, which started in 2019, throughout 2020, and even during the general election debate between him and Trump, you'll notice the stuttering and stammering and him being confused. And if you look past 2020 and you follow how Biden's been speaking since then, there's been a drastic decline. He is clearly being looked over. They have him speaking and they quickly rush him off stage. He doesn't do much. He's easily distracted. He doesn't even know sometimes where he's at, or he looks like he doesn't know where he's at. I have said this on the show, but perhaps Joe Biden is getting early onset dementia or Alzheimer's. And as someone who has seen 3 of his relatives battle with dementia and Alzheimer's, it's not an easy thing to look at. And look, this is denied defense of Joe Biden because I'm not going to vote Democrat. And I sure as hell didn't vote for Biden. But it's clear to me. And if anyone else says any different, show me how Biden hasn't lost any kind of cognitive ability. Show me how Biden doesn't look like he's not stuttering or stammering. Show me. And the thing is, before anyone types in there, well, we got to do something about the Republicans. Well, it's not my fault that the Republicans have plenty of political ammunition to use against Joe Biden.
Nope, he did that to himself.
And the thing is, Miguel H says in the chat, hey, Bernie should run a third time too, just to waste everyone's time. And Roger Meadows writes into something you said about America's soul, like we have to have it in the first place. Lauren, you took the words right out of my mouth about America's soul, and that was from Roger Meadows. Thank you so much for a $2 super chat. All right, so I got one more video to play, and this is from Fox News. So we'll at least end it on a funny note with the people at Fox News. Now remember, Fox News gets it right some of the time. But it looks like when they're about to do a touchdown, they drop trowel and and take a dump and say they made a home run. So there you go. Why are you laughing? That's not funny.
No.
Democrats have a message for President Joe Biden about 2024. Don't run.
We can't afford to risk the White House to a Republican who could defeat status quo Joe.
We can't afford to lose. Don't run, Joe.
Don't run, Joe.
Don't run, Joe.
Don't run, Joe.
Well, that's a little discouraging. Joining me now, Fox News contributor Katie Pavlich. Katie, are you surprised to hear that? Because Joe looks like he's going to run. He feels good about the midterms.
I'm not surprised to hear it. There are a number of groups on the left in the Democratic Party who have been trying to shift that party even further to the left. Joe Biden has helped them out by giving them a number of big ticket items that they're not satisfied. I thought it was interesting that this group is running this ad in New Hampshire, which is usually the first in the nation primary state, but Joe Biden is trying to move the first primary to South Carolina. But in terms of how successful they're going to be, Joe Biden has indicated that he is planning on running. They haven't made it official. He will be 80 years old. And just in the last couple of weeks, we've seen First Lady Jill Biden actually change her tune a little bit as well and say that she's all in. Now, I think that if the elections in 2022, the midterms would have gone differently, you'd be seeing a lot more ads like this, including from maybe some potential opponents like Gavin Newsom, for example, from California. But because the election went decently well for Democrats, Joe Biden himself feels like he still has a shot despite his low approval rating of just 39%.
So in the CNBC poll, 57% of Democrats say he shouldn't run, 66% of independents, and 86% of Republicans. It looks like the party's going to get out of the way from him. I don't see anybody lining up, whether it's Buttigieg, whether it's obviously Governor Newsom is not going to do anything. I don't see anybody running against him if he wants this.
Well, he's an incumbent president. Democrats also don't want to get themselves in a position where they are fighting out a bloody primary while Republicans are doing the same. They want to be able to hold all of their resources for the general election. And if they start inserting primary opponents for Joe Biden, that's going to deplete some of their resources and also highlight some of these discrepancies and the disagreements that Democrats have within the party. The far left wing of the party trying to continue to push this Bernie Sanders style socialism, whereas, Joe Biden would argue that he's more of a moderate, even though we've seen him govern in the exact opposite way. So the Democrats.
All right. I got to pause him right there. Okay. First of all, Fox News. You guys are right sometimes, but as soon as you start saying that he's governing like a socialist or a communist, I got to stop you there. Come on. I know that you could come up with better words into the source, into socialist or communist or
Well, it's
Bernie
just like
Sanders.
that bit
you know.
from Princess Bride. It's like, you keep using this word. I don't think it means what you think it means. Like they know it's just a buzzword and it gets people upset, but like I'm just like, he's not, though. Even like Bernie Sanders is like not really a socialist. Like his policies are not socialism. It's close. It's like edging more towards that, but it's not actually socialism. So it's like, it's not. And then they keep and then they do they do with AOC too, and they call her like a communist. And I'm like, oh, okay, y'all need to like learn some actual political theory. Like, none of that is what it is. Like,
exactly,
you're wrong about what that is.
Exactly. And the thing is too, what I want to share just before we end the segment, it kind of goes, notice what they're saying about the Democrats and how they want to conserve their resources. They're really going to gamble with the senile old man. Now, again, there looks like there will be a Republican primary. Now, the thing is, to all the Democratic voters, if you're voting for Biden out of fear that the Republicans are going to take away whatever freedoms you have left, here's what I got to say. This is an endorsement of Republicans because I'm not. Right? I'm not a Republican voter. I don't support the two-party system. I vote independent. I vote third party. And to all the two-brain-celled idiots who think, oh, just because I vote third party, I'm helping out the opposition. No, I actually have a brain, and I'd rather have a nice steak dinner than eat a shit burger or shit salad, okay? I don't want any of that shit near me, and I don't want to be associated with the two-party system. But because you have many vote blue no matter who people so afraid of the Republican Party, they fail to see that the Democrats didn't deliver on any of their promises. Roe v. Wade died under a Democratic administration. And you would think that they'd fight harder for it, but they didn't. They fundraised off of it, though. You would think that they would do something about cannabis legalization, student debt forgiveness, Medicare for all. Nothing. So, and the kids are still in cages. So the thing is, you're panicking and wetting your pants about the potential Republican presidential administration. What more can the GOP do that the Democrats haven't left open for them to take advantage of? At this point, you're voting for a party that purposely loses. You see, when you watch the Harlem Globetrotters and the Washington Generals play against each other, see, the Generals are supposed to lose because everyone's there to see the Harlem Globetrotters win. Everyone likes that. Everyone's entertained. But when it comes down to American politics, the Democrats purposely lose. They could, in theory, win. They could, in theory, do good things, but then they lose their ability to fundraise. They lose their ability to make money because the Democrats are just as corrupt as Republicans. So Democratic voters, Republican voters, you don't have a seat at the table. You're voting for your abuser. And here the Democrats are really going to gamble with senile Joe Biden. And again, if they truly do run with it, notice he won't be speaking as much. Corporate media and everyone on Twitter who has that blue check mark for the liberal establishment, TYT Majority Report, they are going to go to bat hard for Biden. Say, oh, this time we're going to push him left. We're really going to hold his feet to the fire. How'd that work out for all of you? Oh, that's right. I could see your black eye. Do me a favor. Put your sunglasses on. I don't want to look at you anymore. Vote blue no matter who. Lauren, final word.
I find they keep finding new and different ways to be disappointing, and it's getting to, and I always think, you know what, this time I'm expecting it. I'm ready for it, but I never am. And because I'm always surprised again by just like the extra mile that they're willing to go. It's like, and again, in this case, the Fox News correspondent was, actually laying down some real facts there for a minute before, she went off the rails and started talking about their bullet points of, communism. But it's not that, like the guy from CNN was trying to say, that people don't want him in there because he's old. It's because he has failed time and time again to actually deliver on the promises he's made to the people. And we as a people need to stop giving the Democratic Party chances. And again, nothing changes fundamentally between regime changes. Nothing. Like, everyone is always so scared. It's like, well, if the Republicans get in power, then all of these rights are going to disappear. But guess what? The rights, they don't. Like, they're still, not too much has fundamentally changed in that particular, in like any of those, in the social spheres. Like, the Democrats haven't protected anything. So yeah, sure, maybe some rights go away, but they were rights that could have been protected, and then they haven't been protected, and that's the reason they go away. But you've said it time and time again that the Democratic Party is not going to do anything specific to help, and them changing it up for the Republican Party in power, who's ever in power, isn't going to change things fundamentally for the average person. It's just not.